The developers who struggle most with AI coding are not the beginners. They are the experienced developers, the ones who are actually good at their work. I was one of them. I've been building software for years, and recently I also built and launched my own product called the Material Theme Builder, mostly with AI agents. Now it has paid users, so whatever I'm talking about here is not theory. I've actually lived through this experience in the past few months. And something interesting happens when experienced developers try AI coding for the first time. Feel very nice, but a bit off as well. And here's why. So beginners don't struggle as much because they don't have deeply ingrained habit. They just use the tool and enjoy the benefit. But experienced developers, we have built our confidence on constructing the code exactly as we want it. Every line, every decision, every edge case catered for. And that's what made us good. But with agentic coding, these same instincts, they actually sometimes start working against us. And this usually shows up in two traps that we fall into. So let's see on the whiteboard what these two traps are. So the first trap is on the other side of the spectrum. So this trap is something called trap 1 and it's called over controlling. So here you treat your AI like a junior developer and you don't trust anything that it gives you. You review every line, you obsess over every line of code, you rewrite everything, you question every decision. And even though the agent can write code in 5 seconds, you are going to review it in 20 minutes. So at the end, you only get about 10% of the speed. And then obviously you are frustrated and you conclude that the AI coding itself is not for me. The other end of the spectrum is trap 2, which is that you forgo all control. Okay. So you can say under controlling. You let the agent run wild, right? You don't give any standards, no guardrail, and it's fast. You get to ship faster, you can create products faster until something breaks in production. And then you realize that you actually don't know any of the code. And that's the point where you realize that you have messed up and you can't do anything about it. Now, both of these problems or these traps actually come up because there's a confusion about the role that you now have as a software developer. The role that you have now is not to write the code, not writing code by hand, right? Your role has now changed to be someone who owns the code but with guardrails. Think of it like the difference between a craftsman and an architect. So a craftsman actually builds from scratch, manual work, while an architect actually designs the structure and builds systems for inspections, checks, etc. to ensure that the building is up to a certain standard. You want to go from being a craftsman to an architect now with AI agentic coding. And this transition often is a bit difficult for us experienced developers. It's a given that you want to transition to this architect role so that you can make effective use of agentic coding, but how can you actually do that? And what do these inspections and checks actually look like when you are using agentic coding for building your app? Now, this may differ from developer to developer, but for me personally, I found this framework really useful. So the first would be the lower level layer, which will be the first layer of giving enough context to your AI agent. And this involves actually creating a set of standards. So these are the standards or the taste, basically, that you have as an experienced developer built over the years of how the code should be like, how the architecture should be like, and how you actually design applications in your way. Now you can have these as simple markdown files. For instance, if I show you my materials theme builder, you can go in my material theme builder here. And by the way, this is cursor 3, which I use for my coding nowadays. You go in your files section here, and in your docs, you can see that I have a whole standards folder here. As an example, if I show you the architecture.md file here, you're going to see that it has all of the details about how I actually want to structure my applications. And this is, by the way, an Angular application, but it applies to any other front end or back end application that you would like. Okay. So I have documented all of this here with the help from AI after going through a review process. So these standard documents are basically your list of documents for each of the aspect of the code that you want. So this will become your single source of truth for whenever you want your AI to follow the standard. And so the first layer is basically your plan, plus you're going to use agents.md or you're going to use skills. But the important thing is you're going to refer to these standards that you have, okay? Because these represent your own taste. So this is the first step, the first guard, you could say, to ensure that you generate the correct code according to your standard. Then we have the next guardrail, and that is your layer of tests. So these tests can be any test, unit test, end-to-end test, but combined together, these basically form your quality gates for your application. So don't read every line, rely on these tests to actually ensure that your behavior of your application is correct. A lot of us developers used to skip these tests because we used to test manually or we used to rely on some other form of testing. But with agentic coding, these are an absolute must. So in my application, for example, if I go in my material theme builder here and let me try and run some tests here. So I'm gonna create a new agent here in my material theme builder and I'm gonna say run all the unit and E2E tests. And you can see now that about 200 unit tests which are in this project have passed and about 23 E2E tests, end-to-end tests have also been passed, okay? So just like that, we have a quality gate which we can actually run, and I actually do this whenever I push to production, before that, or even after some level of code has been generated by my agent here. So this is your second level of quality gate. And once you have your tests and you run them regularly, you will get a good idea of the correctness of your application. What about the third step? So the third step, which I find similar to the first step and which refers to the standards again, is actually an automated code review step. So this is for those standards which were missed during the first planning, because as LLM or agents in general are basically probabilistic, so they're not going to follow everything 100%, even if you want them to, okay? So we need to have an automated code review, and I find this useful to actually iron out those cases like architecture or splitting components, making sure that the code is up to a certain level of standard. During this code review, basically, we can refer back to the same set of standards that we have, the single source of truth that we had before. So if I go in my agents here, you can see that I have these skills here, and I have a special code review skill here, which I actually use for reviewing the code. So it actually checks the diffs that have not been pushed to production or committed, and it actually checks it against a whole index of my standards, and it actually gives me in the form of a standards coverage as well at the end. So this ensures that all of the standards have been followed or at least checked by the AI at the end, and I can then refactor code if I want to. And the important thing is I don't need to do it line by line, because the AI is generally faster at summarizing stuff and checking against stuff as opposed to me doing it manually. So this is the step 3, the third guardrail. And after following these 3 guardrails, you can actually ensure to a pretty large extent that your final code is up to your specific standards or your specific tastes. Now, of course, this shift that I'm talking about is not instant. Okay, so I still struggle with it sometimes, but with time, it is getting better and better, and I'm starting to see a lot of productivity gains in my own workflow. Now, just a bit about my channel. My YouTube channel has been mostly about Angular coding tutorials by hand, but since I have started working or I have shifted to agentic coding mostly, it would be difficult to continue that path. But I'm still gonna continue Angular tutorials, but they will be more about agentic coding and all of the stuff associated with that. And I'm going to, going forward, focus on this, helping experienced developers or even junior developers get more acquainted with agentic coding so that they can get effective at their work or even in their solo projects or building their own products. And in this direction, I'm also planning a cohort-based workshop or course, especially for experienced developers who want to make this transition. I'm planning to discuss all of the guardrails, the mindset shift required, the workflows that are required to actually build a real project together using agentic coding. Now, if that sounds interesting, go ahead and sign up on the waitlist given in the link in the description so that you can be notified whenever I open up the cohort. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in another video with a deep dive or some other aspect of agentic coding.